Okay, perfect. Okay, so today's topic that we're gonna be talking about is basically I know y'all hear me talk about attitude all the time. I love attitude and just how that affects your day and just overall circumstances in life. But we're also going to talk about just God being there for you during everything. So this one's actually for today, so hopefully it's relevant. And it says, one of my names is Wonderful Counselor. I understand you far, far better than you understand yourself. So come to see me, or no, so come to me with your problems and insecurities, seeking my counsel. In the light of my loving presence, you can see yourself as you really are, radiantly lovely in my brilliant righteousness. Though my righteousness is perfect, you will continue to struggle with imperfections, yours and others, as long as you live in this world. Still, your standing with me is secure. Nothing in all creation can separate you from my love. A good counselor helps you recognize truth and live according to it. Actually, I was born and came into the world to testify to the truth. So be open and honest when you bring me your concerns. Also fill your mind and heart with my word, which contains absolute truth. A wonderful counselor is not only extremely good at helping people, but also able to inspire delight or pleasure. Delight yourself in me, beloved, and I will give you the desires of your heart. So number one thing that I want to point out that he says is, so come to me with your problems and insecurities, seeking my soul. And it says that you will always, throughout the day, find struggle and imperfections in not only yourself, but other people, which is so true. Especially if you go on like social media, especially if you go on just anything and you start comparing yourself, you start picking out the flaws that you have, you start picking out the flaws that they have. And then you start realizing, okay, maybe I'm not worthy enough for this promotion, or maybe I'm not worthy enough to receive this abundance in my life. So keep that in mind. And then this one's all about attitude, and I'll kind of intertwine the two. But this one says we are responsible for our attitudes, and then it says our destinies in life will never be determined by our complaining spirits or high expectations. Life is full of surprises, and the adjustment of our attitudes is a lifelong project. The pessimist complains about the wind, the optimist expects it to change. The leader adjusts the sail. We choose what attitudes we have right now, and it's continuing choice. I am amazed at the large number of adults who fail to take responsibility for their attitudes. If they're grumpy and someone asks why, they'll say, I got up on the wrong side of the bed. When failure begins to plague their lives, they'll say, I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. When life begins to flatten out and others and family are still climbing, they'll say, well, I was in the wrong birth order in my family. When their marriages fail, they believe they married the wrong person. When someone else gets a promotion they wanted, it's because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Do you notice something? They are blaming everyone else for their problems. The greatest day in your life and mine is when we take total responsibility for our attitudes. That's the day we truly grow up. And then it says, choose to be responsible for how you view your circumstances. So with that being said, I thought that was number one, super powerful, because we choose how we view our circumstances and we choose how we view ourselves. And choosing to view ourselves in a really great light is a very, very, very hard thing to do. I can't even lie and say, oh yeah, you wake up and you're like, oh wow, I'm great. That's not how it happens. Still doesn't happen, even though I'm constantly working in my faith and constantly journaling out. I don't wake up immediately thinking, oh, I'm truly incredible. I want to think that, but I don't necessarily think that. And so I constantly have to work towards the attitude that I want. And so you can kind of ask yourself this today, but are you the person that's like, oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed? Or are you that type of person? What does it say? Or maybe it doesn't give me another option. But are you the person that's like, oh, yeah, something happened, but it's going to be okay? I woke up this morning and I instantly got in an irritated mood, and I told myself not to look at my phone before, but I had like a customer message me and just be rude to me for just her own issues. That's just how it happens sometimes. And I got instantly in a bad mood. And I was just like, this customer, why are they being mean to me? Like, I've literally reached out to them 15 million times, like, and they've not responded, whatever. And then I read this page and I was like, oh, I'm choosing to be angry today. I'm literally choosing to be angry before we get on the prayer Zoom. And it does not make sense to have one person define how I feel today. And that kind of basically goes into self-worth and just everything else that God promises you. And this one actually says, it says, one of my names is Wonderful Counselor. I understand you far, far better than yourself. Sometimes you come to me with your problems, but it says nothing in all creation can separate you from my love. And it says, delight yourself in me, and I will give you the desires of your heart. And it says, a wonderful counselor is not only extremely good at helping people, but also able to inspire delight or pleasure. So every time you feel yourself falling in like a negative trap, or you find yourself falling into something angry, or you find yourself comparing yourself, I tell y'all all the time that like comparison truly is one thing that I'm so bad at. Like that is something that literally hurts my soul more than anything else in this freaking planet. Like I compare myself so much and I don't understand why. And so it's a daily grind of not doing that. Like legitimately daily grind not doing that. And so you kind of have to seek him towards counsel. You can't expect to go off and ask every single leader in our company or every single person that you know in your life and ask them for guidance and expect to get this fulfillment, because chances are someone's going to tell you something and you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's nice, but that's not really what I needed to hear. Or that didn't really hit the spot like I thought it would. Well, guess what? God's constantly telling you to come to the Bible and come to his devotional. I told y'all all the time. I started with this devotional. You literally have no excuse. And I'm not like a pushy Christian. So I'm not like, hey, you need to go get this. But literally you have no excuse if you do feel like a billion things are going on in your life. Chances are it's time to like stop feeling so overwhelmed, feeling like you have to have the weight of the world on your shoulders, and just seek God in whatever it is that you want to do, whether that be prayer, which I always advise people to pray. That's actually where I find a lot of peace. But prayer or devotion, or I have this leadership book that's still spiritual. I have this other leadership book that's not spiritual at all, but I still tie it in with this. And so you can kind of choose what you want, but God's telling you every single step of the way, like he's going to remind you how beautiful and how worthy that you are. And so anytime that you step foot away from that, it's time for you to call back to him and just simply like say such a simple prayer. And I think it said something in that, say something so simple. So be open and honest and bring your concerns. Also fill your heart mind with my word, which contains absolute truth. There was something, or maybe I read it somewhere else, but it was just saying like talk so simple to him. You don't have to overcomplicate it. I know we've talked about that before, but today, if you're really struggling with comparison or your self-worth, number one, check your attitude. Normally when I am not in the best mood, I have not filled my cup up with my spiritual side of things. Like this weekend, I was like constantly going with my friends and stuff. And so I really didn't take the time to read everything. And so yesterday I intentionally sat down. It was actually a little bit later in the day, so completely out of my schedule that I normally do, but I still sat down because I felt a little bit empty. And the first thing that I went to was reading my Bible and reading this. And guess what? After I got off, I was like, man, my cup feels filled. And so it kind of takes away all those insecurities. And I just like really want to tell you, and I talk to people all the time, especially in this business, because obviously this business is more of 80% mine, 20% work. And I talk to people all day. They're just like, I just don't know if I can hit this promotion, or I don't know if I feel worthy enough to even be able to sign these customers or to sign up these distributors and help them promote and teach duplication and, all these things. And you are relying too much on yourself, number one, because we as people, we can do a lot with our mindset, but also at the same time, like God is on our side. Like he's the one that proves impossible to be possible. And so we put too much pressure on ourselves. And then when you do that, you're like, oh, wow, I am like drained. I feel sucked out of life today. That's when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, because if something doesn't go right, you feel like you have to handle it right then and there. And that's not necessarily true. And so it's just something that like you have to look at, like, are you waking up every day grumpy, angry, irritated, annoyed? Or are you waking up very excited and joyful and thankful for the day of what God's going to give you? And a lot of times that again goes into even enjoying the process of things. We focus so much on the end goal. It's not even real. It irritates me to myself how much I focus on the end goal and don't look at the entire process. I'm like, okay, so I have to have this down payment for my house. I'm not thinking like the little bits and pieces, like the fast starts, the keto cash that I can get, like all the bonuses that I can get on top of my paycheck. I'm just looking at the big picture of what I owe for the house. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? How am I actually going to do this? And then God keeps humbling me and reminding me, and he's like, oh, sister, I just gave you this person over here to help train. So you're not going to help train them to earn your fast start, and not only help you earn your fast start, but you teach duplication and help them. Oh, I gave you this over here, but you're solely relying on yourself. I know my comfort zone, especially when I'm trying to promote, is to enroll. and to not train other people. And it's such a bad comfort zone to be in because I know I'm a like I could be a top enroller, but that's not getting me anywhere if I'm not teaching duplication. And so that was kind of like off topic and sidetrack, but it's just so true. We try to rely on ourselves for our own attitude. That's why a lot of people avoid doing personal development until something really sucky happens. A lot of new people on my team, they won't start doing it until something happens and they're like, I'm in the worst mood of my life. And I'm like, well, have you done personal development? They're like, nope, gonna start now. And I'm like, great time to start. So like you need to get ahead of that. And so if you're one of those people that's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You're literally only hurting yourself. It's kind of like you trying to find your faith. Like I understand trying to find your faith is such a journey. So I will never judge someone on their faith journey at all. But you literally can't start until you start. And so like what's going to cause you to actually pick up a Bible or buy something on Amazon that's going to help you with a devotional. There's a really great Jesus devotional. Emily, what was it called? You sent the picture of it. I forgot what it was called.
The prayer journal.
The prayer journal. It's off of Amazon, and that's what really helped me last year when I was going through a really bad stage of depression. That's what guided me through things. That's what made me journal when I wasn't a journaler before. And it just overall helped my mindset. So if y'all want to start somewhere and you're like, I don't know where to start, it gives you scripture already. It's not like, go look this up in the Bible. It's like, hey, what are you thinking today on this topic? Name 3 things that you're grateful for and 3 things that have happened in your life in the past week that you're so angry about. Or it literally requires you to journal. It's so good. Emily posted the link. I think it's like $15, maybe more, maybe less, but it's so worth it. It's 10. Okay. Yeah. It genuinely changed my life. Like I cannot even explain it enough. I've given that to like 15 people to say, hey, start with this. So maybe that's a great start. Get that today, get that tomorrow, get that when you get paid, whatever you need, look at that as an investment in your faith. And I promise you, it'll help you. So that was something that really helped me. And I wasn't even supposed to get it, is the funny part. I didn't buy it or anything. My grandmother gave it to me one day and she was like, I don't really journal. Do you? And it was when I was going through a really tough time and I was like, absolutely give that to me. And immediately when I opened it, I couldn't stop and I finished it. There's so many pages in it and I finished it within like 30 days. So it's incredible. But anyways, on the other side of that, it says choose to be responsible for how you view your circumstances. So today, and it says that we're constantly trying to be a light to others. Like we need to be servants to others and help others and help bring the light and shed the joy to other people. So like how you're viewing your circumstances today are affecting other people. It's either affecting your kids, it's affecting your team, it's affecting your family. I know the way that my mom thinks affects me. Like it's just a circle of life of how it happens. So be that one person that changes that path to being like, okay, I might be going through a tough time right now, but God, number one, I know that you have me. Lay it all out for him, all the frustrations and everything that you have, and just, it's okay to yell at God. I know that some people like super, like really, really old Southern Baptist Christians might not be that way. I really have no clue. I'm putting this on YouTube, so I don't know if I'll actually get crap for this, but it's okay yell at God sometimes. Like that's what I have to do to get out your frustrations. If you're mad, you're mad. You can't hide away your feelings. If you do, you're going to blow up. So like go ahead, get all your frustrations out and just pray to him, asking him to assert or guide you through whatever you're going through today and ask him to change your attitude and perspective on the things that happen in your life. And when you do, I promise you, it's going to be so refreshing. It's going to help you and it's going to help so many other people because when you're no longer a negative Nancy and I don't consider when things happen in your life and you constantly keep getting beaten up for it, I don't think you're necessarily a negative Nancy. It's just life gets hard. So life is very hard sometimes. But also if you aren't doing the tools necessary, like reading your Bible, and personal development is amazing, but it's also not the main source. Like if you're diving into your faith journey, God is like the ultimate provider, like he is. And so you'll find really big peace when you're talking with him, moreover than just solely relying on personal development. So like someone who wrote a book, like it's way deeper than that. And so hopefully you value that. But I'll stop talking. My like throat is like hurting because I don't know, keep talking. But go ahead and drop your prayer request below. If y'all have like any questions about that, I'll actually post this on my story because I post these every single day on my story. So y'all can go look back on that if you need that as a reminder, but definitely just let me know what y'all need prayers over, and Emily, I'll pray over what you said. I'll be reading these comments real quick. play some music.
Got a mind full of questions. Don't let me be.
Eden, you just bought it?
Yeah, I actually bought that like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I haven't started it yet, but I did just buy that.
I'm telling you, the way that you've like been on here, like I know that you've asked prayer requests for like anxiety and stuff, so I'm not like calling you out. Like you've just said that multiple times on here. I would really advise you to start that today. Not trying to be that pushy person, but like for real.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to stop this.